Right, 10 November 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you yet another clarity session or stream where I try to make sure that by the time you go to bed, you have a better understanding of what is going on around our country. So a lot is happening in Zimbabwe, and today I'm going to be very brief as I want to come back in the morning with more details. So as you are aware, Mnangagwa has left Zimbabwe and he is in Azerbaijan, where he is meeting with other leaders at COP29. So I've shown you that picture in the morning where Mnangagwa was seen off by Vice President General Chiwenga. So what has happened is that Mnangagwa has arrived and he has had a closed door meeting with the president of Azerbaijan. And you can see the meeting that has taken place here. So I'm going to give you more details tomorrow. I'm obviously trying to still settle down here as I arrived from the United States of America just a day or so ago. And the reason why this is a closed door meeting is there are certain things that are happening behind the scenes. And Mnangagwa is currently in the process of trying to understand what is going on after his trip to Botswana. And according to my sources, there is a lot that is happening behind the scenes. And Mnangagwa is not sure what is going on. So he is basically moving around with his whole family, including all his children and the people that are very close to him. So the people that are close to Mnangagwa are moving around with him. Security has been increased dramatically. And there is a rumor that is circulating that Mnangagwa has obtained private security from another country. I don't know which country it is. And one of the things that you're going to see is that Mnangagwa here is right next door, or was right next door in Russia. So if we look at these two countries, you see that Azerbaijan in that region, so let's say is Azerbaijan next to Russia, right? If we check on the internet, you see that Azerbaijan shares a border with Russia. So right there, that is where Mnangagwa was. Mnangagwa is not a senior government official. He's more of a junior. And you remember that I told you that Mutuli is in China. So the guys that are around Mnangagwa are moving around. It's not a normal movement. They are trying to protect themselves. So there is a security issue that has taken place over the past week between Mnangagwa and his government. They believe that something was about to happen in Zimbabwe, especially when he was in Botswana. So he was not sure of the situation that was happening in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa is no longer sure about the situation around himself, especially from a security perspective. I've said this to you in the past, that Mnangagwa has increased security around himself. And as I'm showing you here, this is Azerbaijan, right next to Russia. So they're at the bottom here. You see that at the top there is Russia. So this is where Mnangagwa was. And I do not know whether that makes sense or not, but he is over there. And Mutuli is also around over there. People close to Mnangagwa have left the country. Most of them, they don't stick around when Mnangagwa is not there. So there is a big problem that is taking place. And we must watch the developing situation very, very closely around Mnangagwa. People are very unhappy with what is happening with Mnangagwa. The whole Mnangagwa family is afraid, and they are moving around in groups, including the twins. They are moving around as a group. You will not see them not together anymore, and they have increased security. My understanding is that is another way of protecting himself. Mnangagwa could have or have sort of moved some assets out of Zimbabwe, and I'm not sure what assets he has moved. So these things that I'm telling you is coming from highly placed sources that are knowledgeable of the situation in Zimbabwe. So he has moved some assets out of Zimbabwe, including some state assets that he's using as leverage. He wants to make sure that if ever something was to happen, the guys who come in will find nothing. They won't be able to find any of the assets. For example, the gold at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has reportedly been moved. Some of it has been moved according to my sources. So these are some of the things that I've been told and which we're looking at very carefully to see what is the game plan for Mnangagwa. How is the situation going to turn around? I've said here that by the 27th of December, Mnangagwa will not be in office if he continues the way that he's doing now. So we are now checking the 27th of December as the next key date, which we are going to see if Mnangagwa is going to be around or not. So that is 2 weeks to the end of November. So 21 days to the end of November and 30 days to the end of December. That is within the next 50 or 60 days, Mnangagwa will be out of office if he continues the way that is continuing. The situation in Zimbabwe is totally deteriorated. And the guys in the military are jittery. They're not happy with what is going on. So right now, the acting president of Zimbabwe is General Chiwenga. And most of the people around Mnangagwa have left, including his twins. So he has taken away his kids, and they're currently either with him or in other countries that are close to where he is. So there is a crazy situation taking place in Zimbabwe right now. And it started when Mnangagwa went to Botswana, according to my sources. So let's observe very carefully what is going to happen to Mnangagwa. But it doesn't look good. The situation that we're heading into is not looking good, and it needs to be managed very, very carefully. If people don't manage this situation carefully, something big is going to happen. So I want to invite a guest, but unfortunately, let's see if I can invite a guest right now, because I sort of forgot to do it before the beginning of this session. Let's see if we can invite my guest to come here. I'm now becoming like anonzani musikana weZBC uyu akabatwa achitaipa during news live in Zulu. It was funny. There was one girl who was caught typing on WhatsApp during the news at ZBC yesterday. It was shocking. It did happen yesterday in Zimbabwe. You should check it out. I've got a video of the whole thing happening live. But as we go, let me take you to other news. Ma'am Juru is now the head of the observer mission, or election observer mission of the AU. You can see her here. Ma'am Juru, very respectable. I like Ma'am Juru. I spend a lot of time with her. And I hope that she does well with what she's doing here as the head of the election observer mission for the AU. So I just saw this announcement today. And myself, I've never talked to Ma'am Juru since that time. I've got no contact with her. I don't know what she does, but I think I know her democratic credentials. She's someone who is very democratic. She likes the rule of law, and she's not like Mabinya, Mnangagwa, Mbabadze vanhu. So it's crazy what is happening. We've got nice people, and then we've got bad people. But currently, we do have Ma'am Juru is the head of the African Union Observer Mission. And you can see her here. We've got critical elections in DRC and in Namibia. And I'll be talking more about what is happening in Namibia. There's a lot that is going on there. I'll also be talking a lot about what is happening in Namibia. And I'll be back in the United States of America within a very short space of time. You're going to see me over there. So my apologies. Mkoma Tandazani, how are you doing?
I'm good, brother Gambakwe. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm so sorry that I had to send you a link when you were not ready. So quickly tell me what is going on. Where have you been? What are you up to?
Thank you very much, brother Gambakwe. No, we have been in the political trenches, and Of course, Zimbabwe has to be free. Of course, we need to start actually having a conversation as to what needs to be done for Zimbabwe to be free, what needs to be done for the situation to actually change, because the situation that is currently at the moment is not favorable for the unemployed, it's not favorable for the youth, it's not even favorable for an ordinary Zimbabwean. So we've been in the trenches since my resignation from the yesteryear for us party where I was. I've been in the trenches, and at the moment I'm working with the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. So we're pushing an agenda actually to see a better Zimbabwe, an agenda to see a working economy, an agenda to see a free Zimbabwe, and of course an agenda to see a prosperous Zimbabwe. So what I can say in short is I'm literally pushing under the capable leadership of President Abigail Munyoro in the Zimbabwe Independent Movement.
Okay, that's fantastic. I just think we should leave that announcement there because I've got a lot of questions. And some of the questions that I have, I don't think you'll be able to answer them. But let me try to ask you one question. There is a rumor that the Zimbabwe Independent Movement is sponsored by Xavier Kasukuwere. Is that true?
Zimbabwe Independent Movement is not sponsored by Xavier Kasukuwere. Actually, Zimbabwe Independent Movement, it's not an individual movement. It's a movement. It's a movement that brings together the progressive forces together, the revolutionaries, the fearlesses, the radicals, the militant. You know, it's too bigger than Xavier Kasukuwere himself for him to be able to sponsor it or to be able to run it. It's now a broad-based vanguard organization that speaks to the day-to-day issues of our people. So it's not sponsored by an individual. It's actually a movement that is run by a collective, you know, leadership of the people of Zimbabwe themselves, ordinary Zimbabweans, community-based organizations, lobby groups, you know, under the need to pursue the struggle of economic emancipation in our lifetime. So what I can safely and without any iota of doubt say to you is that Xavier Kasukuwere is not even a member of the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. It does not appear in any leadership structures of the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. In other words, the movement, it's independent. It's not even associated with Xavier Kasukuwere. But however, you know, as a Zimbabwean, he is more than welcome as well to join the movement and be part and parcel of the revolution that is actually ready to usher in a change in our lifetime. But he's not actively any sponsor of the Zimbabwe. In fact, there is no sponsor for the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. The Zimbabwe Independent Movement is funded by individuals, you know, the membership fees that we make from the t-shirts and some small, you know, dinner galas that we put around to make sure that the movement is moving in terms of paying for our offices and our day-to-day expenses. But we are not funded by, we don't have any donor, and we are not associated with Xavier Kasukuwere.
Okay, so I think what we should do is let's bring this to an end, and then we'll resume our weekly updates as you talk about your journey in the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, literally, my final parting shots to the people of Zimbabwe may be to say that Zimbabwe needs all of us. Let's consolidate all the progressive forces towards an agenda to see a better Zimbabwe. And as we consolidate those progressive forces, let's remember that this whole thing, it's bigger than individuals, it's bigger than political organizations, it's bigger than ideological differences, it's bigger than tribal differences. It's an agenda that seeks to change the concrete lives of our people, and all progressive Zimbabweans should actually bring their hands together, bring their ideas together. Let's consolidate ourselves. Let's come up with a movement for the people, by the people of Zimbabwe, and make sure that we are free from the autocratic leadership of ZANU-PF. And we need the young people, we need the women, we need everybody to be on board, and until Zimbabwe becomes free.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And I'll talk to you again. We'll find a date for you when I'll be bringing you here on a daily basis. Thank you very much, and a good night to you.
Thank you.
All right, so that was my guest there. You wanted to make an announcement? that he has left his old party, Forest Party, and is now a member of the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. I'm going to be challenging these guys to reveal how powerful and how they managed to attract so many people from other political parties, including General Stole, who has left and joined Zimbabwe Independent Movement, and some other people that I will not mention right now. A lot of people have gone to this party, and that rumor that Seveka Sokuere is sponsoring that party, I want to obviously unpack it. You've heard him, he said that they are not connected. But let me go back to what I said, and let's recap. We say that Mnangagwa has traveled to Azerbaijan right now, and according to my sources, Mnangagwa is traveling with his whole family. He is not leaving his family. When he now leaves Zimbabwe, he takes everyone. And this is because he has been advised that there is a security threat, something can happen at any time. So that is something that has happened starting from the time when he went to Botswana. Mnangagwa traveling with his whole family and believing that something or anything can happen at any time. However, Mnangagwa is said to have obtained some private security from somewhere. I don't know which country. And he is using those as people who take charge of the situation in Zimbabwe when he's not there. And we've seen that his son, Kudam Mnangagwa, is currently in Russia, right next to Azerbaijan. And also, Mtuli Ngube was in China. So the whole group that goes around with Mnangagwa is currently with him. They go around with him all over the place, especially the sons. Mnangagwa is not taking any chances where he goes. He now goes with his sons to protect them to anything that can happen. And at the moment, General Chiwenga, the president or the acting president of Zimbabwe. So if anything happens to Mnangagwa, you now have a new president suddenly and unexpectedly, without a doubt. That is what is going to happen. And as I said, Mnangagwa and his cabal are very scared of what can happen if Mnangagwa was to be out of office. And look at this situation here. This is Scott Sapanya taking a fake trophy to Mnangagwa. Scott Sapanya did not win. His team did not win the trophy. This is how corrupt Mnangagwa is and his people. They did not win the trophy. There is a case which is going to go before the ZIFA committee on the 14th to decide who is the winner. And Scott Sapanya already has the trophy, although that situation has happened. And as you know, Scott Sapanya is responsible for the murder of Pastor Tafmane Masaya, who was killed in Mavuku while campaigning for the CCC candidate. So the people around Mnangagwa are terrified. They are scared for all that they've been doing, and they are getting ready to run. But the problem is, if that happens, that process must be bloodless. And that is what I've been told, that Mnangagwa wants to make this process a chaotic. If anything was to happen, the guys that have been left behind by Mnangagwa would cause so much chaos that there will be no prospect of any of the guys who are there currently taking over. So that is the plan that Mnangagwa has put in place. He has set a trap so that if the guys, military guys or war veterans or whatever, if they take the bait, there will be such a fight that whatever outcome will be in Zimbabwe will not be acceptable to anybody. So watch very carefully what is going to happen within the next 60 days. We are going into the most critical 60 days. I told you what happened when we went into the ZANU-PF Annual People's Conference. Now the next milestone is the end of this year. We're not get to the end of this year. Won't get to the end of this year without something big happening, because the situation has become impossible. The economy has collapsed, and the fight between the two factions is now out in the open. Whoever makes the first move will win. Whoever makes the last move will lose. Right, so I think now I promised that I'll show you how to apply for a permit of Kenya. So if you are traveling to any country in the world, Kenya is your best place to go as a transit place. So there is something called the transit visa for Kenya. And if you want to get that transit visa, You go to their website, Kenya so let's see what this, this website is. Immigration.go.k. So immigration, let me type it right there. So let me share that screen with you so that you can get it. So if you're traveling into Kenya and you want to apply for a visa, you go to that website. Let me share the screen so that the guys who are going to go to Kenya, who actually want to do it, they can see. Kenya is the most technologically advanced country in Africa in terms of their e-government. So I'm not going to type in my password and use the name. I don't need to, but you can see it there yourself. Because I know the Panama don't need to type my login now, and then they'll go and apply for a visa for me in Kenya. I don't know how to go to Kenya now, right now. So this is the website, immigration.go.k. So I don't know how I can even type it here. Let me put it so that you guys get it, because there is obviously a number of places that are not working. So that is immigration. So if you're in the UK, if you're in all these countries that you're passing through Kenya, please drop off at Kenya and go and see. So immigration.go.k. I think that is it there. You can go to this website and you apply for your transit visa and you go into Kenya. You'll be able to spend some days at Nairobi, go and see the game parks. This is the website that you're going to. This is a very interesting website and the best system that I've seen for African, in African countries. They've done so well, Kenya. They have made everything electronic, and you get the visa on your passport on your phone. The visa, when you get to the counter, you just produce it and you go into Kenya. For myself, I didn't pay because I was going on a journalist. I said my profession is journalist, and they allowed me to go into Kenya without paying. Normally, it's about 300. It's about $10 for you to go into Kenya, I think, from what I've heard. But myself, I did not get charged anything to go into Kenya. So amazing stuff. That country is amazing, and I'm going to be going to Kenya a lot. I'm going to be visiting Kenya quite a lot of times. I've had people telling me to go to Ethiopia. I want to speak on Ethiopia, but this is just preliminary. I'm going to go deeper into the situation in Ethiopia. There's currently a fight between the government of Kenya and one of the tribes, the smaller tribes, and they are going around. The government of Ethiopia is going around killing those people. So I want us to unpack that situation. I met people in Washington who gave me the true picture of what is going on in Ethiopia, and I'm very concerned about what's going on over there. Apparently, the international media is not aware of what is happening in Ethiopia with the mass murders that are taking place. So obviously, we'll try to find out the guys in Ethiopia and find out why that is happening, why the tribal people are being killed all over the place. Right, so let's look at TV7 Live. What did TV7 Live say about Mnangagwa? It says, Gambakwe, is it true Mnangagwa is in hiding according to TV7 Live? I haven't talked to his sources, but my sources have told me that he's moving around with his family. Not that he's hiding, but he's moving around with his family. If he goes to Botswana, he goes with everyone. If he goes to Azerbaijan, he goes with everyone. He's no longer living his family in Zimbabwe. And he has put in place a security team of commandos who are in Zimbabwe, who, if anything was to happen, they will cause such a fight that whatever outcome of whatever wants to happen will not be acceptable. That is what has happened, according to my sources, very reliable, high-level sources, and this has been ongoing for the past few days. And you saw what I said about Mnangagwa. She started to try to revive a campaign. So there is a lot that is happening, and you're going to see a lot within the next 60 days. Be very careful if you're in Zimbabwe and if you're in ZANU-PF. Do not take sides. Sit back and watch. Do not talk too much. If you're in ZANU-PF, just be smart. Don't be like Tatenda Mavetera, who wants to charge us WhatsApp groups. And I saw she put out a statement denying everything. Tatenda Mavetera, ukwane. Don't try to make people pay for a WhatsApp group. That is so behind. If you go to any country in the world, communication is happening. People are talking. She has put out a statement here saying that she didn't do it. She did not say that people should pay for WhatsApp groups. They must stop these things that they're doing. And Mnangagwa, they're bringing our country backwards. And we wanted to stop what they're doing. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. It's very late now. And I'll be here in the morning to give you updates on the trending news in the morning. We are back to our original schedule. And we are not going to stop broadcasting and streaming on a daily basis. And thank you very much, all of you, for your support. And next week, we're obviously going to be unpacking more on the high-speed rail. What is high-speed rail? What do you plan to do? What are planned cities? 2 soldiers, sorry, 2 houses for each soldier. What does it mean? What is the tourist-based economy? Most people don't understand what is the tourism-based economy. I will show you when I was flying out of Kenya what it looks like, what a tourism-based economy is. I'm also going to show you what is a military planned city and what is a rail-based economy around the whole world, the country of Zimbabwe. 30 billion to 50 billion on rail. What does it mean? How all of you are going to be able to come back home from those countries like an America, an UK, and New Zealand, Australia. You can't come back to Zimbabwe if there's no connection. If you can't go from Harare to Bulawayo in 3 hours, if you can't go from Harare to Victoria Falls in 3.5 hours, if you can't go to Gokwe, Lupane, what does it mean to have a country where you can move very quickly? And a tourist, why do they come to a country? In a painless way. That is what we want to do. And we're going to be establishing all these things. 2025, that's all I'll be doing. And also, for everyone who is a journalist, a YouTuber, everyone who is in media space, pastors, all of our socialites, we're going to be working on a housing project for you, and we'll be announcing it very, very soon. This will take time, but we're going to do it, and all of you are going to enjoy what I'm talking about here. So I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and a good night to you all.